What's up, everyone? Today we have a very unique guest, in my opinion. She is a world traveler.
You could say that.
So we have
Natalia.
AKA Nati.
Nati.
She goes by Nati. It's a more preferable name.
Yes.
So how many countries have you lived and traveled?
Okay, so I've lived in obviously Colombia where I was born. Then I moved to Germany where I lived for first a year. Then I moved to Australia, lived there for a year and a half. Then went back to Germany for half a year. Then moved to India for a few months, 3-4 months. Then I moved to China, and in China I lived almost 5 years before coming back to Colombia about a year ago.
So China is the place that you lived the longest outside of Colombia.
Exactly. So it's like, it was definitely, it is still kind of like a second home. I still miss it, right? Like we were talking about Chinese food before, and
Like we don't have many foreigners from Colombia in China. By the way, it's also true. You don't see a lot of Chinese living in Colombia.
honestly, like what are the odds, right? Like I came to visit a friend that I actually also met through China, an American friend, and he's like, oh, you know, a friend of mine is visiting. And he's from China but lives in New York, so it's like the world just keeps getting smaller and smaller all the time. January 2020, right? Like at the time it was like, oh, we're leaving this Wuhan flu thing behind. You know, I left China like a day before they closed the borders, and you know, I thought it was gonna stay there.
Because you were very worried.
No, not at all. Like it had nothing to do with that. So I had plans to travel.
So you already had a plan.
Yeah, I already had a plan.
It was a coincidence.
Yeah, it was a coincidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were in Shenzhen at the time you left, and did you have any idea how bad this virus is gonna be, or?
No, like I am very into like natural health. You know, I am a health coach, a life coach. Believe in like natural immunity and all of these things, and you know, and I had a post there, you know, saying that it was like totally blown out of proportion and like exaggerating, and it was just gonna be like, you know, a flu, another variant, and you know, and then I basically gave, you know, my suggestions for like.
You didn't think it was that bad.
No.
But it turned out to be horrible.
Yeah, I had to change my mind, right, like multiple times around the severity and the nature of
the COVID virus.
Yeah.
So you probably also didn't anticipate how China as a country was going to do with the virus and how the rest of the world was doing. China, as you probably know, is like almost cool, like they're good.
So my brother still lives in China. So my brother lives there, and yeah, like for him, it's basically life back to normal. I have obviously a lot of friends still in China, in Shanghai, in Shenzhen, and like there's no masks, there's no like lockdowns anymore.
Right.
So yeah.
And it's been like that for a while.
Yeah.
It's probably a little more than
there's a lot of like street vendors and like people that live from the day to day.
Right.
And you know, in the more developed countries where people were able to kind of like enforce the isolation, enforce the physical distancing, here there were like a big part of the population who can't really stay home, because if you stay home, then you know you won't eat.
You lose jobs and you don't make money, and then everything stops.
Yeah. So and people live like day to day, right? Like they don't have an emergency